Bumps, bruises, and breakouts. That's what we got to talk about today on Seahawks Digest. Another day of camp in the book. More headlines to get to as we run down a couple of different stories. What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen with another episode of Seahawks Digest, the show that's bringing you daily reactions, rumors, contents, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I tell you always to like, subscribe, comment, share, all the YouTube buttons so that you can get the content delivered to you with one of those convenient little notifications. If not, no worries. I will still be here all season to talk about headlines like this one. We got to talk every single episode. It seems I'm living up to my promise of we're going to talk about the running backs room in some capacity, way, shape, or form. Jadarian Price is getting a ton of praise, and we got to talk about that. We also got to talk, though, about, let's get first to the update and discussing of him not being on the field for the last practice with lower body soreness. That is the official update. He is not injured. He's just missing a practice with some potential bumps and bruises. I think that this is, I'll assign it like 97% just normal football, 3% curiosity. And the curiosity being, he was not the regular every single down back in college. Not to say that he wasn't good enough, he just was splitting it with other fantastic starting running backs. And so there was a point of discussion coming out about, well, what has his workload been? How much wear and tear does he have on the tread, on the tires? And a lot of it being in the sense of like, oh, he's got all of this extra contact to take. I also think that there might be something to say about like the Seahawks currently under the situation of Kenneth Walker being gone and Sharps being injured are trying to play this guy every down. And so he's making the adjustment of playing all the downs and doing it at the NFL level. So a little bit of just acclimation, wear and tear, I think is kind of par for the course. That being said, like I said, he's having some great feedback on the amazing camp that he's had. Little clip here. You can go find it if you have not been watching Hard Knocks. Mike Macdonald talking about no one has been able to cover this guy, and I think that it just keeps getting better. This was a quote in the article that I started with where they're talking about using him using Price on all three downs, and how they talk about how George Lonnie is going to be their third down back, but that when you have a first round back like Price, he's going to get out there and he's going to get his. Certainly seems like most of the explosiveness has been in Price being the receiving running back, but nonetheless, seeing him get out there and get all that work so far in camp with all of these big hype, the reactions of, oh, he's doing amazing, this, that, and the other. I'm not tempering any of those expectations. I just will be curious if there is something to be said about him needing to, take a couple of X, Y, or Z weeks to get back into the swing of being like the full every down running back. Next thing we got for you is an injury update on Nick Emmanwori. The updates have been vague, if you will, on exactly what's going on with him starting the season on the PUP list. You have different levels of they can pull him off now. If they don't pull him off by the 30th of this month, and then he's going to need to miss a certain amount of time and whatnot. The most precise clarity that we have now received on this from Coach Macdonald talking yesterday, saying that we're not sure on week one yet. I think what's great about Nick, the way Nick's taken on this process, is we're not putting timelines on anything. It's just let's put our foot on the gas and let's go rock and roll every day and see where that takes us. So I think we're optimistic, but let's just go with all the mindsets, yada, 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 let the results fall into place. So I got to ask you, what's your medical assessment, everybody? No, seriously, though, we're not set on week one. Does feel like vague coach talk, but this also feels like, to me, him projecting out and kind of confirming that the ankle's not, he's not healthy enough to be playing week 1. And I think that means, if I'm just, this is me just guessing here, trying to read from context clues of how many other linebackers the Seahawks have brought in to be camp legs, but also maybe auditioning to fill the void a little bit for Emmanwori. I think that he's going to miss the first 4 weeks. I think him and Sharps are going to be on that same timeline of on the PUP at the 30th and then needing to miss those first 4 weeks. So circle week 5 with the 49ers for the return of Emmanwori would be my guess, or at least the first pass at it. I showed you yesterday, he's walking around camp, and okay, that's not necessarily he's going to walk around camp and then just jump into a drill and be like, oh yeah, see, look, I was fine, I'm just resting. But I think that if you would see things like if he was out there in a boot, if he was out there with a little bit of a limp, if he was just sitting on a golf cart driving around camp. But no, I get the sense that Emmanwori is close. He's just somebody who they're taking very seriously in terms of wanting to have him available all season. So I guess I view it as you're missing those first 4 weeks to sacrifice for being available for the rest of the season. Last one, though, I want to talk about stories-wise today. We have not discussed Elijah Arroyo enough, and the discussion of what Brian Fleury is going to be doing for the tight ends has been consistent all offseason about how Fleury's this George Kittle adjacent tight end whisperer. And then we started to see some reports coming out about how heavily the tight ends have been targeted with different pass schemes in different offensive drills. And so just got a little interview with some good quotes, I think, that, talking about guys who are going to have breakout years. Arroyo was asked about last season. He left some food on the table from an individual standpoint, but that's why I'm here now. A lot of room for improvement, and that makes me hungry. Yes, a lot of room for improvement and right coach, I guess, to be working on the improvement. This, I think, was the telling quote that was kind of interesting to me. He's talking about the biggest thing for me is just truly running routes like a tight end. Sometimes when I get in space, I tend to try and shake people, like shimmy and shake, but I'm 255 pounds, man. I got to be able to move people, use my body to get open. I do really stand by the philosophy that what makes Coach Macdonald and the Seahawks so successful is their ability to put people in the right position to be successful and to not have and ask them to do things beyond their skill set or beyond outside of their real wheelhouse. And so to have Arroyo be saying that, hey man, I want to get out there and I want to get after it and I want to get some yards and I want to get downfield, but to also be speaking about how he's understanding that he needs to do it within his best self, feels like there is already some effects of Brian Fleury coming through with just even the mindset that Arroyo has. And so to have a guy like that with a quarterback who's going to be given a bunch of options, and then you're talking about Arroyo understanding, hey, I need to stay within myself, be inside, force press off this guy, boom. It could be, I think, a ton of Arroyo over the middle, between the tackles, 10 to 15 yards downfield, that he could just be sitting there lethal all season long. Seems exciting to me. That's what I got for you. 3 stories today about the Seahawks. Until next time, like, subscribe, comment, share. We'll talk to you guys soon.